Hi, my name is Anissa Burwell, and today I will be discussing my experience as a silver student and some takeaways I uncovered during the process. To hear the audio in my presentation, just click the gray audio button that will be on the top right of each slide. Thank you, and let's get started. So, starting off the Silver Challenge, I didn't really have any goals in mind. I just knew that I wanted to take the skills and the confidence that I learned from the Bronze Challenge due to this new Silver Challenge. My first coaching session with my coach, Tiara, we kind of discussed three main things that would be brought up over and over again throughout my time with her. So I listed those as my goals because they eventually became something that I really needed to implement in my life and something that I strive towards. So the first one is being intentional about my professional development. Like I said before, I didn't really know what I wanted to do or how I could do it, but I wanted my professional development to be something that would really benefit me and not just be something that I did just to get the requirement done. So I ended up doing a lot of my professional development about law school. So LSAT prep, listening to webinars about people who applied to law school and how that went. So that was very interesting for me, and it really helped me because I want to go to law school. I was able to get advice, and the professional development actually became very influential in my life. So it wasn't something that was just busy work, which I really appreciate because it could have been something that I just checked off a list. The second one is become better at time management. So I'm taking 6 classes, and I'm also doing community service, and I'm trying to finish the Silver Challenge and all different kinds of things. And for a while, it was very stressful, and I could not get everything done, and it was just very stressful. So my coach again reminded me that it's okay to sometimes to limit what you do, so you don't have to be involved in everything, but you do want to be involved in things that give you joy. And that kind of ties into the last goal, is learn how to enjoy self-care. I'm always busy, so I feel like if I'm not busy, then something is missing, and that can be very dangerous because then it makes you feel like you always have to be productive, you always have to be getting things done, and you never have time to rest. So the become better at time management and learning how to enjoy self-care is really intertwined, and those two were the main goals that I had because I wanted to ensure that I was enjoying the Silver Challenge and I was committing enough time to that, but I also wanted to make sure that I was fulfilling my academic responsibilities, which was another big thing in itself. So those were my main goals for the Silver Challenge. So on this slide, I'm going to be talking about my process of growth throughout the Silver Challenge. I made a graph to visually lay out all of the major events that happened to me this semester. I will explain each one, and then I will explain how I grew from the situation as a whole. So I started off with beginning the Silver Challenge. I was really excited because I had just finished the Bronze Challenge the semester prior, and I was just really excited to take the skills and the knowledge that I gained from that experience and bring it into the Silver Challenge and really implement it within my service and discuss it with my Silver coach. So after that first meeting, I began to do my community service at Interlink, and this was really exciting because I love English tutoring. I love being with people from other countries, so I was really excited about that. However, about 2 or 3 weeks into the semester, my student and I could not continue our weekly meetings because of scheduling conflicts, and they ended up having to have surgery. So I planned to do my community service at Interlink, and I couldn't finish it now because my student, unfortunately, we couldn't meet. So the 30 hours would not be complete, and this really stressed me out. So I contacted my Silver coach, and I just didn't know what to do. And then I found this other opportunity, which boosted me way up because I got to work with OLCE again, which is one of the offices that I really love working with through the Census Student Planning Committee. And we had a lot of events planned. I was able, when I scheduled my time, I was able to get the full 30 hours. However, COVID-19 halted the entire academic year. So all of that planning and work that I had to do to get a new opportunity was suddenly gone. And then I had a whole other situation with housing and academics. And the Silver Challenge was kind of like at the back of my mind, even though I was so excited to do it. After being at home for a while in that transition, I figured out that I could finish the challenge online, and I was again really excited because that was my first goal, was just to go through the whole process and gain everything that I could. However, my workload began to hinder me. I'm taking 6 classes, so the silver requirements was sort of something that I didn't necessarily have time to do, and I was trying to figure out should I how should I go about completing the challenge but also keeping my grades somewhere that I would like them to be. However, after talking to my silver coach, we decided that self-care is very important and that it's okay to pull back sometimes and not always have to get things done as fast as I think I should. I shouldn't have to always be rushing to get things done. And that really helped me because I was able to take a break and get recharged, and then I was able to finish everything that I needed to get, which leads me to my ultimate end goal, which was finish the silver challenge and all of my academic responsibilities. So as you can see, throughout this whole process, it was very up and down, but I really learned how to be adaptive. Before, I was very not rigid, but I wanted things to be one certain way and I wanted to go through the process as one certain way. But because of all of these different changes, I learned how to be adaptive. I learned how to communicate with my silver coach and communicate professionally and communicate my concerns about whatever was happening. So this was really beneficial for me. I think overall I became a very adaptive and well-rounded communicator throughout this whole process. To fulfill the 30-hour service requirement needed to complete the Silver Challenge, I decided to start my community service at Interlink. So Interlink is a program that's currently at UNCG where they take students who need to increase their English abilities, and they can take classes to practice English and to really understand how English works. And then after that, they can enroll in UNCG or they can continue on to whatever they would decide to do. So the programs I worked with was the Conversation Partner Program and the English Tutoring Program. And so I worked with 2 students who were from Iran and Saudi Arabia, and we met every week for approximately an hour. We talked about many different things. We talked about current events. We talked about personal achievements. What did they want to do? One of my students, she already had her degree, but when she moved here, it was harder for her to enroll in a university because her English was not at the level needed to really understand and gain information from from her classes. So this opportunity really helped me overcome my mild social anxiety. So it's really hard for me to kind of get outside of the box and talk to other people because I'm very shy. And this was something where I love working with other people. I love learning about other cultures. Um, so this really helped push me to be in a place that I enjoyed, but also to work on myself and work on having better conversations and meaningful conversations with other people. So I started, like I said, I started my volunteer hours here. However, one of my students we couldn't meet weekly because of scheduling conflicts and they had to have surgery. Therefore, would be hours short because it would have been right at 30 hours at the end of the semester. So I decided to restart my volunteer service at the Census Student Planning Committee, and this was through OLCE. And so there are 5 UNCG students who um, worked together to make sure that the student body understood the census, and that we wanted to make sure that especially students who commute to and from UNCG, that they're not residential, that they were not residents of UNCG on UNCG's campus, that uh, we would be able to reach out to them to make sure that they were included in the census. And there was a lot of things that we discussed in these meetings that I literally had no clue about. I had no clue how important the census was, and I thought this was like a cool experience because it literally happens once every 10 years, and I wouldn't be on a college campus again in 10 years, so I thought this would be a super cool opportunity. Anyway, this opportunity increased my team building skills. So like I said, there was 5 other students. Well, there were 5 students including me, and I really had to work together. We had to come up with planning strategies and events for students to come to. So we really had to think as students, what events would we go to and plan those events. Because of COVID-19, we weren't able to actually complete many of these events, so we were kind of cut short, but overall it was still a great opportunity. I really loved both of these organizations, or both of these opportunities were so amazing. Um, and they really helped show me that I can still do service as a student. For a long time, I kind of thought that, oh, I'm busy as a student, I can't really complete as much community service, but I was able to actually, I was able to commit some of my time to actually get this done, to get 30 hours done, which is something I'd never done before. So I think moving forward, I'll really try to make more time for community service because it's very important. My personal motivation for starting the Silver Challenge was to really make myself a stronger and more efficient leader, and I did this by putting myself in uncomfortable situations. So I'm an introvert. It's really difficult for me because I'm super shy. Um, and so I knew that I would be having to meet with the Silver Coach, and I would have to discuss with them one-on-one, which is very nerve-wracking for me. And I would also have to volunteer with people that I probably would have never met before because this campus is huge. There's so many things you can do. And then I would also have to join an organization with I didn't have an organization last year, so this would be completely new for me. And I thought that this would really help my communication skills increase, and I was right that my communication skills did increase and that fear of speaking did decrease. So that was good. However, this also ties into my future goal of being a lawyer. I wanted to really work on my communication skills because as a lawyer, those are very important. And I wanted to be a lawyer because I really want to ensure that everyone, especially in marginalized and powerless communities, seemingly powerless communities, are treated with respect. And I really wanted to take this opportunity in the Silver Challenge to really refine those skills that I learned and make sure that I was efficient in the way that I spoke and the way that I interacted professionally with other people. And I actually got to advocate for some of the students that I was working with or tutoring with to ensure that, that they were getting the proper treatment that they needed. And so for positive social change, and I think that's really important because it improves the way that humans interact with each other. If we are interacting better, our society can function more efficiently. And it's not just saying that, oh, we're all coming together to like unify our cultures, but it's more of just saying, we're celebrating our differences. We accept that we're all different. All of our cultures are different. They might have some similarities. They might have some differences, but they should all be respected. And I put this picture of the world in here because our world has so many different things going on there. So many different people, so many different types of cultures, so many different types of languages, foods, all kinds of different things. And all of them should be celebrated and accepted. And that's something that we should be fighting for because every person on this planet has a role in bringing about positive change because we're all humans of this planet. The way that we interact with people influences other people. And we should advocate for those because sometimes people can't always advocate for themselves. They might be in a marginalized community where the odds are kind of stacked against them, or they might not feel like they have a voice or one person has a voice. But if one person decides to change, then other people could change, or a whole movement could happen. So I think it's really important that we always understand that every day is an opportunity for us to be more efficient and fight for other people and advocate for other people. And sometimes it's not even just about advocating for other people. Sometimes it's just listening to their story or listening to what they have to offer. That's something I learned during the Silver Challenge when I tutored some of my students. Sometimes they just wanted people to listen to and to understand their story and understand where they came from. And I thought that was really beneficial. If I think back to the day I first signed up for the Silver Challenge, I can honestly say that I was quite unsure about what I was actually getting into. Of course, I knew that there would be coaching sessions, I would have a silver coach, I would have to have 30 hours of service and professional development and things like that, but I didn't know how the actual experience would be. And I was quite fearful that one, I wouldn't be able to give enough time, I wouldn't commit enough of my time to complete this. And two, I was just fearful of having to network with someone else. I would have to meet with a coach constantly. I would have to volunteer, and it was just very nerve-wracking. However, I still decided to do it. So after going through the process and having an up and down experience, I can say that I have taken a lot of valuable information away from this experience. So for this slide, I decided to put a picture of myself and then little speaking bubbles coming from that picture to share the statements that I've learned or the lessons that I've learned. So the first one on the left is participating in community service is important as a student. So I really never thought that I really thought that I could not participate in community service or commit a large amount of time to community service because I was so busy and I was just like school, 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 and that's the only thing I could do. However, that is not true because through this I was able to commit and I was going to commit more. However, with this current situation, I wasn't able to. But I was able to actually plan out parts of my day to actively participate in community service. And this was something I did before when I was younger. I always did community service, so I felt like I was reconnecting with my younger self by doing community service. And so I think in the future, I really want to get back into community service and help other people get into community service because it really is beneficial. It helps whether you're doing it with UNCG, if you're doing it in the Greensboro area, it really just helps the community feel connected, and I just really love that. So the next one is communication is key. I really learned about how important communication is. I communicated with my silver coach when I had a problem. If I needed to reach out to one of the students that I was tutoring, I was able to do that. I was able to network with so many different people. And before, like I said, I was very shy, and communication was something that really hindered me. And it was something that I also tried to work on too with bronze, but in the silver challenge, it really helped me because I had to communicate almost everything. I had to, explain what I wanted out of the challenge. I had to put my thoughts into words that made sense, and it was a really great experience. And I think moving forward that I'm going to try to keep exposing myself to public speaking, exposing myself to networking, so it can help build that skill, even though the Silver Challenge really did help strengthen it. The top bubble on the right was I will continue to advocate for myself and others. So throughout this process, I really had to um, seek out ways that I could fulfill certain requirements. So for my volunteer opportunities, I had to apply and kind of list why I wanted to apply and why I wanted to be part of the organization. And I had to advocate for myself and advocate and say, hey, I really want to be a part of this organization. Let me tell you about myself and why I would benefit the organization. And that's really unlike myself. I'm not really someone to talk about my own personality or my own strengths or my own weaknesses. So that was really helpful for me, but also too with the students I met with, sometimes they were having issues with their class or with a specific teacher or something like that, and I would give them advice. And it actually made me think of situations with an open mind and come to the meetings that I was in with a fresh mind to be able to give them ideas and just to listen to them. And I really, that is something I want to do as a lawyer. I want to advocate for other people's and for other people. And the Silver Challenge really helped me grow in that area to learn how to advocate not only for myself, but for the people that I'm helping. So that's something that I would do in the future. And then the last bubble is you will never know the outcome of something unless you try. Do not let fear and discouragement hold you back. So like I said before, when I first started the Silver Challenge, I was very fearful because I didn't know if my coach was going to be nice, but she's great. I really like her. I didn't know if I would be able to commit the time and I would have to stop in the middle of this. However, I still tried it because I knew that if I didn't do it, I would regret it and be like, well, Anissa, you should have done that. So I committed fully to it, and then I kept hitting roadblocks. Like my student dropped because of a surgery, so I wasn't able to get those service hours, and then I had to jump somewhere completely different, and then coronavirus happened and so many things were happening. However, I was able to finish everything despite the many obstacles that I came to. So I think that's a valuable lesson for me to take in the future, that you might be fearful of something, you might be facing obstacles, but it's always important to just try your best and commit to something wholeheartedly, and just go for it because you never know how it'll affect you or if you might actually surprise yourself. So overall, I really had a great experience in the Silver Challenge. I would recommend it to anyone that wants to go through it. My coach was amazing, Tiara. She was amazing, and I just had a great time. Thank you so much for listening to Talk Experience. Have a great day.